Hello, this is the Pursuit of Anime, where we talk a mix of anime and philosophy. You're joined by myself, Raven, and Teddy,
Hello.
and today we're speaking a little bit of a continuation on last week's topic, talking about how far can the human mind be pushed, far can the human spirit or the body itself, what are its limitations, and how far can one truly be pushed? Now, Teddy, it was your this topic was your idea.
hmm
What kind of sparked this up and brought this to mind for you when you were thinking of it?
it's just because I feel like one recurring theme in anime is, and one of the uh, main appeals of the that storytelling genre, the storytelling medium, is the fact that a lot of the time, either the main character or a side character that we decide to focus on for any extended period of time, they get put in a situation where they're being tested, whether it be mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. But usually, what's I guess what's more what most people gravitate to is the mental stress that they get put under,
Yeah.
right? And I thought about many characters like Subaru from ReZero, like Guts from Berserk. Um, I mean, even some characters from really popular stories like Dragon Ball Z, where they get pushed to such lengths, right? And I found myself wondering, wait, is this how realistic is this, right? Because usually when you see those characters overcome those struggles, it's inspiring, right? It makes you think about your own life and how you can go beyond what you thought was possible, what anybody else thought was possible, and come out on the other end stronger and better. So I was like, how can you like how far can you take it, right?
Yeah.
And um, I wanted to focus on that topic in both the positive and the negative lens. So for the positive lens, it's like how like it will be in terms of like a mental challenge that you overcome over time versus with the negative one is it's more so it's like a negative stimulus, but we'll go through them and you'll see what I'm talking about. So the the first guy that I was thinking about wasn't even one of the people I just mentioned to you. It was, you remember Monster
Oh yeah.
with Johan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I always wondered how if you were in that doctor's position, right?
Yeah.
Would you have been able to withstand Johan's psychological warfare and came out of it? Because if you
Remind us.
remember,
Yeah.
huh?
Remind us some of what the atrocities that he did with his psychological warfare.
He was able to convince a child, like I think he was like 11-year-old child, to take his own life by breaking down to him the futility of his existence and the world that he lived in. He basically convinced a kid that had everything to live for that he in fact had nothing to live for. And he had such a pragmatic and matter of fact approach to all of his arguments that even me as the viewer, I was not even involved in it, but he was making such strong points. I was like, you know, I don't I can't I have no rebuttal for this. And so that even back then I thought to myself, I I pray to God that I never encounter somebody with that that's I won't say like deranged, but also very strong and determined mind. because somebody like that can convince you of almost anything, or at least they can make you understand. Like, they can make you think that they're right, even though they're not, right? But you can't explain it. It's just like, what am I gonna do? So in a situation like that, what do you do?
In a situation like that with somebody that's that persuasive and that charismatic, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I feel like that's a different type of like breaking down of the mind, because at that point there's not really much you can do. You've been like kind of lulled into this dream or to this sleep where you just kind of have to accept it. I think that if I was in Dr. Tenma's position, the doctor from, I think that was his name. I don't remember exactly. But the
Hmm.
doctor from Monster, I think that definitely seeing a kid just kill himself because of what this monster is doing and this monster's words, it can definitely push you to the breaking point. But at the end of the day, remember the doctor's journey was to stop this monster, right? So like
Hmm.
even if like no matter what horrible things happen, right? Even if, for example, the worst thing, and I know we talked about this, I think on the past podcast, something like, let's say God forbid something happens to your family, etc. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something you would never want to happen. You would think that if that man would cause that, you would just break down and would be over. Like your mind can't take anymore. But your mind, although it may still be processing the grief and that may want to cause you to shut down, I don't think you may. Maybe my headcanon is that you wouldn't shut down because you'd also have that aspect of rage and revenge against this person, and this kind of feeling like I have to stop this person before they continue to do this. So
Hmm.
when it comes to how far the human mind can be pushed, you also have to consider these external factors. Why are you allowing yourself to have your mind pushed this way? And if you are allowing this to happen, is it for a purpose? So in this case, he's maybe not. I wouldn't say allowing it, but he's very very well aware of the path that he's going down, and he's going down this path because of the reason that he feels like he has a duty to the world to stop this monster from continuing to grow and continuing to thrive. So it doesn't matter what horrible atrocity just occur in front of him, he's gonna continue on this path. And it's kind of the same thing that Guts from Berserk is going through, where he wants to save Casca and he wants to get revenge on Griffith, and he wants all of these things, and it doesn't matter what horrible things happen to him, you know, he's going to just keep going through it as far as his body will let him.
You know, that's a good point. And I think what that makes me realize is that when you're in the face of like you said, like a charismatic individual with such an indomitable mind and ability to just convince you, I think the only answer to that is just complete and dogged determination, where you almost develop this tunnel vision that makes you focus only on your goal, right? Because when you're talking about this, I just remembered another instance of something like that. Do you remember and Netero and Miriam?
Yeah.
You remember what happened when they started having an actual interaction beyond just throwing hands? They started talking. This man Miriam, to me, which it will always be one of the greatest moments in shonen, because it's like you have this entity that knows that understands its superiority, right? So he sits down, he's like, listen, man, I don't want to do this. We don't have to shed blood over this because I am so enlightened both physically and mentally. I can tell that you're an exceptional being. So I'm willing to make a concession, right? What we're gonna do is you're gonna let me do my thing, right? And when I establish this new world order, we're going to develop a system where everybody serves a purpose. If you don't have any inherent value of yourself, we're going to make you valuable by turning you into food, turning you into cattle for us. But if you are valuable, then you get to live with us. Because, remember when he played Komugi, he realized, oh no, there are some amazing individuals out there. They just have very niche abilities that you might not necessarily be aware of because it's only in a very particular field that they're that amazing, right? So he's like, listen, my logic is sound. I will create the perfect world. Do you remember when Neto responded to that?
I don't. He said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I got to stop this now because if I continue listening to you and I stop fighting, I'm gonna, we might become friends," kind of
Exactly.
thing.
He was like, I'm scared that I'm going to agree with you, so I'm gonna shut this down right now, and we go. And I feel like that's kind of what it is when you're dealing with the likes of Johan and stuff like that, where it's like, I am so sorry, but you're making too much sense. And because I also have a logical mind, I can appreciate that, and so I cannot allow myself to fall victim to your words. So we just gotta throw hands. Because I remember in Monster, that's the way he was too, the doctor. Because he was really made to think for a second. He was like, wait a minute, why am I even doing this? Because Loki, he might be right. But he's like, nah, he's a psychopath. I can't let him live. So, you have to honestly, bro, at some point, because right now, recently with the passing of Akira Toriyama, I've decided to rewatch all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. But at some point, we're gonna need to revisit Monster because I feel like it's so amazing, and there's probably a lot that I didn't pick up on back when I watched it that we could probably get into now, given where we are in life.
I was thinking that too because like I'm just thinking right now, even thinking back on Monster, like if you ask me to like say some exact like quotes from Johan, I just don't remember. It's been so long. It's one of the first anime I ever watched, so it's definitely long overdue for a rewatch. To see if it still holds up to the test of time as well, in terms of like how deep it actually is, because there's certain things that when I was younger they seem deep, and now I watch them, I cringe. I'm like, oh yeah, I found this deep. Are you serious, dude? Like, come on, man. It's like Interstellar is that for me right now. I'm like, dude,
Oh
seriously, like,
no.
yeah, like I still like the movie. It's still good, but like, dude, come on, man. Like, are you serious? Like, if you think Interstellar's deep, I don't know what to tell you. Um, but I mean, it's a great story. It's renowned, and I remember it being absolutely incredible. So I don't, you know, question the quality. I just like, you know, you're going in with an open mind again, like a fresh perspective, because it's been a while, and and yeah, there's so many aspects to how the human mind can be pushed. I think one idea I have is that I do think that the human mind's resistance can be trained. Let's just say, because I know that me, for example, when I was like maybe a few years back, actually, like 5 years back or so, I couldn't really tolerate much spice. Couldn't tolerate eating much spice, but I eventually got a job at this Japanese curry spot. And this Japanese curry spot, they had levels of spice from 0 to 5,
Hmm.
and I would eat this Japanese curry every day because I was working there, and I couldn't even handle one. One was too much for me. It's too much spice. But by the end of it all, I could do level 5, no problem. You know. So I
Hmm.
think that the human spirit and the body, of course, is more obvious, but the capacity to handle suffering in the human mind and handle challenges, it's definitely something that can be trained. what do you think about that, Teddy? Do you think that like things like what happened to Guts, what happened to Jotaro, and all these characters that have suffered that you've seen, and just people, not even just talking about anime, just people. If you go through a lot of suffering, do you think that that hardens you? That's something that you can grow from and become accustomed to? And do you think that's a good thing?
See, I think you can. It just I've noticed this being like working in different industries over time. When you get it's like any stimulus in life. At some point, your body just naturally stops registering it because it's like, okay, we're not gonna. It's exhausting to keep having the same response, the same stimulus. So, for example, like at work, there have been times when I've been um, I've been disappointed by coworkers, right? Or they'll do certain things that just end up creating more work for myself or everybody else. And there used to be a time when it would anger me and it would get a rise out of me because I wonder we're all in this together. So why do you think that it's okay for you not to do your job in a way that makes life easier for me and everybody else? How can you be that selfish? And then over time, I realized that's just the nature of just being in a regular work environment. There are
Yeah,
some people, especially when you care about the quality of the work that you put out, there's always different levels, right? Ideally, so here's I'm just gonna go on a quick tangent here, right? So here's the ideal work environment, in my opinion.
yeah,
The ideal work environment is one where you're not the only one who cares. Everybody cares. And so what that ends up doing is creating a space where we're trying to be better than the next person. If you see somebody doing well, it's like I'm going to at least match that or be even better. To me, you create a place where everybody just ascends and they feel more fulfilled as an employee and also as a person because you gain that knowledge that you're a capable person. You can do great things. And when you're working with like-minded people, that's what happens, right? You just almost one-upping each other, but in a productive way. It's like, oh, I see what you did there. I'm gonna match that, or I'm gonna do better than that. Right? Unfortunately, though, most work environments are not like that. Most of them, there's going to be somebody who just focuses solely on their job, right? But then when they'll see you or they see somebody else who's not only good at what they do, but they transcend just that and it goes into other areas and they're able to pick up the slack for other people, then they're like, oh wait, this guy's here or this girl is here. They're doing all of this. I don't need to try. In fact, I can even almost be a liability and it won't matter because they're here. There are some people they may not consciously think that way, but subconsciously that's where they're at, right? So I've been tested in that way many times, and I've gotten to a point where I just have no faith in people. It's not a good feeling. I
yeah,
don't wish that on anybody, but I have no faith in people. I believe that at some point anyone is liable to disappoint me because and I don't mean this to brag or to be anything. I always bring 100. No, I'm so serious, bro. I always bring 100% of myself at work. Even when I have days off, I don't have days off.
yeah.
I'm like, I understand that I'm here to do a job. I may not be 100%, whether it be physically, mentally, whatever, but I'm going to make it happen regardless. it's not. It's only a few people that I know like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of
yeah.
them I currently work with. Some of them I worked with in the past, right? So because of that, I've developed this. Like, I don't even know. Like I just there's some people I just look at them sideways. Like I don't even know why you're here, and that feeling, I don't want people to have that because it makes you really look down on some people, and I don't like that. And so, to answer your question, it's like, yeah, you can overcome certain things, but depending on what it is, it might take away your um at your humanity a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. It's like when, let's say you are a kind person at heart, right? Naturally.
Yeah. Somebody who's real kind.
Yeah. You know what that means is a lot of times you can get taken advantage of. And sadly, after it happens a few times, what do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna start being as kind, right? Because you're like, oh, human beings can be trash sometimes, huh? Or they will scam me because they know I'm nice, or somebody's gonna ask you for money for food off the street. Then you turn the corner, you see them doing lines of meth or coke or something. And it's like, I gave you this money for food, and this what you do with it,
Unbelievable.
right? So like you can get tested and you can grow stronger from it, but that doesn't always mean better. Uh,
Yeah. It can cause you to become stoic a little bit more stoic and stone hearted
yeah,
because you've seen a raw filter of the world, you know?
yeah. Like you can develop a lot of disdain, for not even just for people, but for life in general. In I mean, these are just everyday examples that I think a lot of people can relate to. But one thing though that I'm like, I don't think anybody could ever relate to that level of suffering.
But the
Imagine
suffering of
being able to experience death over and over again, bro.
not Subaru.
Over and over again, my guy. What do you do? Like, I, I've thought to myself, the one time that he was the most relatable to me was when he was ready to give up after I don't know how many attempts and he kept failing. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm good. I'm done. You
Yeah.
know, I can't keep doing this. I don't know,
Do you,
man.
Teddy? Do you think it's a realistic? Because if correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember him speaking about like the pain of what he went through physically. I remember him giving up mainly because it's just the fact that he was like it seems like it was getting nowhere. It seemed like he was never gonna win, right?
Hmm.
But do you think that's realistic? Do you think that most people they would it doesn't matter if I win or lose, bro? I'm getting my head chopped off. Like that hurts. I'm sick and tired of feeling that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's as simple as that, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You get a paper cutter or a splinter,
Yeah.
and you're ready to be like, bro, like I'm over this. You know, take me to the hospital. And this dude's getting
Yeah.
skinned alive. His head is getting freaking beaten with a metal bat, exploded, imploded, acid. You know, the worst ways you can die.
Oh my, yeah.
Screw,
It was
you know.
gruesome. It was just gnarly, bro. I could never understand that.
What's the worst pain you've ever been through physically that you've had to endure? Like, what's the worst pain you've ever felt yourself?
Oh,
Getting
that's easy.
hit in the balls or something?
No, because at least we hit like getting hit in the balls is like it's a sharp pain. It's quick, but and then it lingers on for a little bit after, but it's not too long, and then you can recover from it pretty quickly. Like within 10 minutes, 10 15 minutes, depending on the strength of the impact, you'll be
Yeah.
good to go. I got scalded by a hot boiling water one time.
Oh, where on your hand?
Pour pour it down on my hand. Yeah. So what happened was I, it was back home. Sometimes we don't always have running hot water. So
Yeah.
what we would do is like for showers, we would boil the water and then we mix it in with the cold water. So what happened
Yeah.
was we had a help that brought in the water, and I had my hand in the bucket, and she didn't notice, and she just poured the hot water like hot of the fire just
No.
straight into the thing, and my hand just caught it. When I tell you that I scream with an intensity I didn't know my body was capable of, because that's just mm. And for a week it just kept burning. I didn't even know that it could hurt this much. It just constant. That's probably like a second-degree burn or something, because the skin just kept peeling off. And the only times that I did not feel pain was when I left my hand inside a freezer or something really cold. They said, "Oh, rub butter on it." It's like none of that matters, bro. My hand is hurting. It, it kept hurting consistently for like a week. I was so mad.
Oh no, dude.
I was so mad because if you just paid attention for a split second, they could have been avoided. But that's to this day, I think is the worst pain I've experienced. Either that or spraining my ankle in the stupidest ways possible. You know how I did that? So I
No.
started learning how to ride a skateboard, and
When was
one thing,
this?
it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Oh my
This is
god.
2021, so almost 3 years ago. It was before I met you guys in New York.
That's crazy.
Uh, I know, I know. So what happened was I was learning how to ride a skateboard, and I was picking it up faster than I thought I would, because it hadn't been my first time on a skateboard, but the first time was years ago, and I wasn't comfortable on it, so I didn't think I could. But I started learning it, and one thing that I knew but didn't practice was the fact that you sometimes falling is good, because falling teaches your body the mechanics faster than if you're just trying to be safe all the time. It takes longer that way.
Yeah.
And so I was doing everything not to fall. Mind you, I am at the time I was like, I want to say 205, maybe closing in on 210.
Oh man.
I I tried to take a left turn, and I got caught. Like the skateboard wasn't going, left. So I was about to fall off the board, and instead of falling off, I decided to catch all 210 pounds of me right on my left ankle. So I skated off and it just snapped. And at the time, because
Oof.
I had the adrenaline rushing, I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. It's not too bad. I'll be
Yeah.
okay. I took the train home. As soon as I got off the train, I was already like having a hard time walking, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is not. This is gonna be a lot more serious than I thought. The next day, I couldn't walk.
No
The
way.
pain that would shoot up my leg when I tried to step down on that. No, mm-mm. I was like, no, no, forget crutches, forget. No, I am not moving. Good thing was back then I was working from home, so I could afford to do that. I sent them a message. I was like, listen, I messed up my ankle in a major way. I'm not coming into work today because I don't drive. So I have to walk to the bus and walk from the. Like, no, I'm not doing that to myself. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's okay, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
So it will be one of those two, either that ankle sprain or the burn. I think that burn probably was the worst though. I can't lie. That
That
was
burn
that
sounds
was
horrible, dude.
yeah, dude. It was not nice. It was not nice at all.
Dude. So if you, let's say this, Teddy, if and I won't single out anybody in particular. If you, let's say somebody you love, let's say the person you want to protect the most, the person you love, envision that person. Let's say they're in a room and there's a bunch of spikes coming down on them. They're about to die. And this room is locked. and you have to. There's a key to unlock the room, and once you unlock the room, it stops everything, and everybody's safe. But in order to get that key, you have to go through that boiling water all over your arm and that ankle sprain immediately. All both of those pain combine immediately in order to get that key. Would you go through it?
No, no, no way,
No.
bro.
What the hell? You're not even gonna try and lie.
No, no, I can't. I can't lie. I can't lie. No cat. Can't lie.
So
No.
there's some limits then in terms of how much you're willing to take in order to get what you want, basically.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
And do you think that, like, because we have a lot of these stories and we're attached to a lot of these characters, but how how low do you think the threshold is for most people? Do you think most people are like that, where they're like, bro, like, I'm really not trying to go through all the, because there's anime like My Hero Academia, where like Deku, you see all that he goes through with his body just to use his
Oh
power to try
God.
and save people, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a lot. He has pain every time that he fights. Well, maybe not nowadays, but before he used to, you know?
This is
And that
true.
was all just to save people. Do you think that most people are like that and have that strong threshold to them?
I think it depends if something that they care about is at stake, and it depends on how much they care about it. Because if they will stake their life, if they put their life on the line for it, then yeah, they could probably go literally to hell and back. The thing is, though, man, the way our society is today, the way we are made aware almost on a regular basis of our mortality, I don't know how many people can genuinely say, yes, I would die for something I care about, I care for. You know, um, I feel like there was a time where I could, you know, convincingly say that. Nowadays, it's tough to say because it feels like people have more to live for than to die for, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. Which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You know, you should want to live your best life and for as much as possible. And it's unfortunate that for the longest time it's always been like, I don't want to say shamed, but um like it's always been glorified to have something to die for. But I think it's more important to have things to live for. And hey, as much as you might say I am not like I love this or this really means a lot to me, but I'm not willing to die for it. There should be no shame in that, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Today, I don't know how many people be willing to die for something they really really care about. But the thing is, it also depends on uh, how many functioning brain cells you have left. Because in Subaru's case, I don't think he has too many left. The man is such a simp for Emilia that he's willing to die and come back to life for her over and over again. You know,
Yeah,
like when you remember his motivation, it's truly pathetic. Like
it's
it's actually
nonsensical.
upsetting. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
What's wrong with him?
that's what I'm trying to find out. It's
And
one of the reasons I got so annoyed with season two.
the thing is, Teddy, when and this is the way I view stories when especially for shonen style stories like this, right?
Hmm.
When you're an author writing a shonen, or any story geared towards like a younger audience, um, you're thinking in your head, yeah, I'm gonna write this character. I need to give them goals and motivations and make them the type of character that people can relate to, right?
Hmm.
Who in God's name out there can relate to Subaru's goal? that they're willing to, like, they look at that and they're like, oh yeah, it makes complete sense what he's doing for that random girl that he barely knows, that it isn't even giving up to him. It doesn't make
Exactly.
any sense. Who agrees with Subaru that that's the right path to take?
Like I don't know. It's just it's so pathetic, and I it,
And the Subaru defenders will come. They
oh
will
yeah,
try to come
you
for
know
us.
they're out there. You know there's some people they'll say, oh, like have you seen those tweets and those posts where they compare Subaru to Guts and let's say My Hero, Yuji, all that stuff, where they're like, who suffered the most? And it's like, hey, bro, are you serious right now? You
Bruh.
really? I mean, he had like the thing is, it's self-inflicted suffering. He does his life doesn't have to be that difficult. He just chooses it. You know, he's like, I'm going to be a simp for Emilia. And so I will put myself in those situations and make myself a laughing stock just for the sake of getting in her drawers, hopefully. Like, bro,
Ugh.
come on, get some self-respect, please.
He should be ashamed of himself. He should be
No,
absolutely
honestly,
ashamed of himself.
he ought to be ashamed. It's just
Would
the,
you call
the,
that a simp, Teddy? Would you call that a simp?
that's
Is that
actually
what a simp is?
beyond the sink. Because I don't even think Sims would be willing to die and come back to life multiple times like that. They'll be
Really?
like, you know what, man, the box ain't worth it. I'm sorry, you can't have it. I'm
Oh
good.
my god.
Yeah, but this guy, he's like he wants it. He wants it bad. It's like, dude, you are. And you know what's crazy? I don't even think. This is just my personal opinion, of course, but that's because I'm, as you know, I'm heavily biased in Ram's favor.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's going to be that nice if he gets into her good graces in that way. Because, mind you, he's doing all that, right?
Yeah.
And she warned him, I believe, at the end of season one. She warned him that, you're doing all this, and I still might not reciprocate your feelings at the end of the day. And this man says, and that's okay. I'm like, no, no, you have no self-respect. I'm sorry. I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
That's just too much. Like I say this with the utmost confidence. In all of the works of fiction I've ever experienced in my life, never have I encountered a main character, and possibly just a fictional character, who is as pathetic and as devoid of self-respect as Subaru, bro.
Yeah.
He disappoints me in ways that I cannot even explain.
Really? You hate
Yeah,
him.
man.
You hate him then.
I don't like him. I really don't.
But what, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the reason why you came up with the topic for the, and now I know why you did this, man. Trust me. Now I put two and two together.
Here we go.
You wanted the topic to be how far can the human mind be pushed, because I'm not gonna lie, that episode with Rem and Subaru pushed your mind to the limits.
Loki did.
It
He
gave you
almost pushed
trauma.
my phone to the limit too, because I'm about to throw that thing across the room. I was not happy, man. I was not happy at all. I was like, no, actually, let's talk about it. You're right, because what
Oh,
happened
here we
was,
go. You see?
no, no, like no, because I was going to troll you at first, but then I'm thinking about it now. I'm putting myself back into where I was mentally when I was watching that first season,
Yeah.
and so like it made me think. That first season, I was watching it. It was a journey because usually in most stories, right,
Yeah.
something like one storytelling technique that authors use is they would use or they will show the like glaring flaws in a character because the purpose of the story is their journey to becoming better in that aspect or overcoming that negative character trait.
Yeah.
So with Subaru, I noticed like literally from episode one, this guy is a bona fide simp. He just met the girl and he already quote unquote fell in love. Like, bro, that is not love. I'm sorry. But that's besides the point, right? It's like, okay, you know what? I'll give it to you. Go ahead. He goes on this journey where he's trying to, you know, make Emilia essentially fall in love with him.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
along the way, he meets many other people. He meets Ram, uh, uh, the Baron that they're working for. I forget his name.
Oh yeah.
He's a super cool dude. But so I'm hoping that on his journey, on this journey, right, he's going to find that maybe the goal that he's been chasing all this time isn't the goal that he's meant to chase.
Really?
Yes, that was my hope. I was hoping, and that's why I hate him so much because I feel like my hopes for him got shattered after that episode because I realized that he was a lost cause. So it kept going, right? Kept happening, and then like to me, when he kept trying to rescue Emilia and he kept failing in different ways, like every time he come back to her dead body and things like that,
Yeah.
or Rem also died in many of those many of his lives. I was thinking, this is it. This is going to be the turning point. This is where he's going to grow and become, he's like coming to his own and mature
Giga
and become
Chad.
this great guy. Yeah, right. And then he starts with the whole, you know what? I'm gonna give up. I can't do this. And Loki, I was enjoying that because I felt like it was realistic. Because even me, as a viewer, I got to see all his life. Because remember, right? He's the only one who knows that. Everybody else, they just have the one life. He's the one that has multiple lives, and he keeps going through all this suffering. So he's the only one who can who feels that pain. He has nobody he can confide to. So I thought to myself, he's been on this grueling journey up until this point. His mind must be exhausted. So if he wants to give up, I ain't gonna be mad at it. I can
Yeah.
respect that because it makes sense given his experiences.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Ram happens. The whole thing about, oh, you never, hit rock bottom because even when you think you do, I'll be here between you and the bottom to make sure you never hit it and you go back up. I'm like, oh my God, Rem, you're too much right now. Like, talk to me. Your speech is wasted on this filth. Talk to me, but no, right? So she said what she said, and all that he did is make him go back to square one. I got up and I was like, no, no, no. Think of Game of Thrones season 8, where all the character development, the plots, the growth, all of that was just thrown to the wayside for one last dance.
I didn't even see
That's
it.
what happened. Good thing you didn't miss out on anything. But to the people that can relate, they will understand what I mean when I say this. That was what happened with Subaru. We spent all this time where he was starting to learn that there are many aspects to this world that he can learn from for himself. He can grow as an individual. He doesn't have to just follow Emilia around like a lost puppy, only for him to go back to square one and say, "Oh, you know what? Now my motivation is renewed. I'm gonna go ahead and do the things that I've been doing up until now again." That's the literal definition of insanity. I'm going to do the same things over again for a different result. Oh my God. Oh my days. I cannot deal with this guy.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It
Like
is unbelievable. So, like when you said that, I felt like it pushed my mind to its limit. It really did because I was living in hope. and praying. I'm like, please, please, please,
And you know
don't
what?
disappoint me.
For me, the thing that gets me is and this is a concept that I apply in real life, is somebody's not giving you that energy back. Like especially like women, like if you like a woman and you're really going out of your way, you like, let's say you're bringing flowers, you're bringing chocolates, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're every time the conversation happens between you, it's you having to go over to them to initiate it, and
Hmm.
they don't reciprocate that whatsoever. Like if you weren't the one to go up to them, they would never go up to you, or they'll never come and bring anything to you. You don't want to be giving that energy out.
No,
You
no,
don't want you don't want to be going the extra mile for
it's
somebody that
wasted
wouldn't
on them.
even. Yeah, you don't want to be going the extra mile for somebody that wouldn't walk a block for you. They wouldn't even take one step in your direction, and you're out
Hmm.
here climbing Mount Everest for them. There's no need for that, and that's the thing that got me with that. Where like Emilia, like he's literally dying, and all like the highlight that Emilia gave him was that she let him like nap in her lap. Are you kidding me? Like, dude,
How
if
pathetic can you be?
yeah, you gotta be absolutely like deluded, absolutely
Like, you know
deluded.
what? He behaves like a guy who has never been in the presence of a woman. That's really sad. Like, I just look at him like, dude, you're going out sad, buddy. I'm so sorry. Like, I can respect you. It's crazy, but
It's unbelievable.
I wanted to touch on one of our favorite stories to kind of end out this topic because like
Yeah,
low key, like you said, the story of Subaru and season one and everything he did may have been the motivation for for this topic, but high key, the main motivation was One Piece, man. First
really,
of all, I what?
really, it was.
Yeah, yeah. I want to just give a massive shout out to Oda, man, because he is an amazing storyteller that sometimes I feel like due to some of the weaker arcs of post timescape for me, um, I started forgetting it a little bit. But with Egghead, he's reminded me like I'm still here, baby. I'll do this.
Yeah,
Let me cook, right? I feel like with almost every chapter that comes out recently, that's what he's telling us. That's what he's telling me, um, that he's still here, still doing this, to putting out greatness. Um, there's three characters in particular in that story that I feel are the definition of what are I'm not definition, but the representation of how the different paths that people can take when faced with extreme, both mental and physical stress, right? I want to start with my boy Kuma because I think he's fresher in our minds, right? Um, you saw everything that he went through, right? His backstory.
yeah.
Now, do you think you would react the same way he did to everything that happened to him?
I would like to say yeah, but at the same time, the things that he gave up, I don't know if I would be able to give that up.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
cannot. I would not be able to do it.
giving up your own self, giving up everything, for the
The
cause.
the moment I knew, because I don't call him Kuma, just Kuma anymore. I call him Saint Kuma. The moment I knew that he was basically a representation of what the most beautiful side of humanity really was when when he was faced by Saint Saturn. Remember when he was still a slave back
Yeah,
on
Saint
God
Saturn.
Valley? Yeah, and he asked him when we're all born, who gets to decide who should be a slave and who should be royalty, or who should be nobility? Why are there um, social classes and different statuses in life? And he was like, if that's the way it is, then I'm going to be the savior for all the unfortunate, all the people who were labeled at birth as slaves, right? And I was like, at that age, being so young, having suffered as much as he has, I don't know that I would have the mind to even think that way, much less act that way. If I have the opportunity to get my hands on who enslaved me, my brother, they will see these hands. I am so sorry. Respectfully, they will see these hands. I'm not thinking about saving nobody. I'm not even thinking about saving myself. I'm just thinking about getting my get back. I might die, but I would die swinging, baby. You feel me? So when he said that, I was like, oh no, he's exceptional. But then what sealed the deal for me was when he was taking away the pain of the villagers. And I remember reading this chapter and I was like, oh, please, God, please tell me he's not about to do what I think he's going to do. Because it's like in Full Metal Alchemy, the law of equivalent exchange, right?
Yeah.
You can't create anything, you can't destroy anything. Everything just transforms, right? It's energy, it's ebbs and flows. And he took away the people's pain. I'm like, can we send away some to the celestial dragons? Can we do something? Can we send some to King Bakori, the king of, you know, the Sorbet kingdom? Because please, don't tell me you're about to take in all this pain, and that's what he's been doing for I don't know how many years. I'm like, no, 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 this is insane. Like, how do you endure this kind of? Because, mind you, he endured so much physical. We're about to get to the mental, but physical turmoil, and he still remained kind all the way to the end, bro. Like, it's characters like that that inspire me sometimes to try to be the best version of me that I can be.
Yep.
But I can't lie, he's a saint. I don't think anybody can do what he does. You know?
Nobody can. Like that's the thing. You can like say you want to, but it's like we talked about. I think on the last stream where like you can say you want to, but whether you will or not, that's I mean that's truly only up to how you react in the moment.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No,
it is what it is. But I do think that in the human spirit there is a capacity to be pushed. You know that's why you have so much excellence in the world. You know you have so many great artists, great you know athletes
hmm
because people they humanity we have the capacity to when under pressure we adapt to it, we go stronger from it, and when the right recipe is there, like you get the right amount of pressure, you can certainly it can certainly be the recipe or the formula for success. So while we are talking about extremes where like uh you know where certain levels of being pushed and certain levels of stress and struggle can make or break you, um there is that kind of certain sweet spot in the middle where you can kind of evaluate, well, how much can I take mentally or physically, and how can I use that to better myself. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a fine balance. Like um, you have to look for the right amount of stimuli that's not going to jeopardize your personality or like I was saying earlier, your humanity, where you just stop, you kind of disconnect from people
Yeah.
because you realize, okay, I'm not going to expose myself to the possibility of being disappointed. So I'm just going to go in with the expectation that I'm always going to get disappointed. It's like, this thing where they say, should you, if you had to choose, right? Should you always be trustful or distrustful of people?
Yeah.
You know.
It's just crazy though. It's crazy. Like you were talking about all the things that Kuma went through, and you compare that to like the things that we go through every day, which are can seem inconsequential.
Hmm.
So it really does put things into perspective, and that's why it's good to have these depictions of people going through a lot in anime and things like that, because it can definitely inspire us and inspire us to take on more challenges. That's basically what I the takeaway that I have from it. As we kind of wrap up, do you kind of have any last takeaways, Teddy, from this topic?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's gonna say it's not easy, right? It's never easy to be put in those situations of extreme either mental or physical stress. Um, but something that can help is, at least for us, right? For us anime fans, it's to escape to the world of anime and find inspiration in there sometimes, whether it be the final Jet Gatling of Luffy versus Lucci, or whatever other example you may want to use as a source of motivation for you to overcome any hardship you find yourself in. It's one of the reasons why this medium is so appealing. You know.
Damn right. But yeah, man, it was a great topic, and I think I agree with everything you just said right there. Like, this is one of the things that makes the topic of anime so philosophical and deep, is that these are stories, these are human stories, and they can be a reflection of life itself. So this has been the pursuit of anime, with how far the human mind can be pushed. We will be back again at you with a new video next week, and we're gonna keep on these hard hitting topics of humanity and anime, and kind of like things that we've learned in just through life, but also with watching through animes, like takeaways that we've gotten from certain animes. And we definitely want to start getting back into specific animes as well. So there's a lot down the pipeline, let's just say that. But this has been a great one. Again, this has been Raven and Teddy with the pursuit of anime. And we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.